God says you will receive unexpected news tonight. It will shock you in a good way. Don't scroll past this moment. Open before 11:59 p.m. This is not a random sentence. This is not an algorithm. This is not coincidence. This is a divine interruption. Out of all the videos, out of all the messages, out of all the voices competing for your attention right now, this one found you. And the urgency in it is not dramatic, it is prophetic. There are moments in life that split time into before and after. There are seconds that carry more weight than entire seasons. Tonight carries that kind of weight. When heaven says tonight, it is not speaking casually. It is speaking specifically. Tonight means within hours. Tonight means something is already in motion. Tonight means conversations are forming. Decisions are being finalized. Emails are being drafted. Approvals are being signed. Hearts are being softened. You may not see it yet, but the gears are already turning. The reason this feels urgent is because there is a window attached to this word. Open before 11:59 p.m. is not about fear. It is about focus. It is about alignment. It is about recognizing that divine timing does not wait for distracted hearts. You almost scrolled past this. You almost dismissed it. Something inside you paused your thumb. Something inside you felt a pull. That pull is not emotion. That pull is recognition. Your spirit knows when it is being addressed. And the warning is clear. Don't scroll past this moment. Because sometimes the greatest blessings are preceded by the simplest instructions. The enemy loves distraction. Heaven loves attention. What you give your attention to determines what you receive. Unexpected news. Those two words alone carry mystery. Unexpected means you did not plan it. You did not predict it. You did not see it forming. In fact, you may have given up on it. You may have stopped checking your phone with hope. You may have stopped believing that anything good could happen this quickly. But God does not need your expectation to perform His promise. He moves suddenly. He shifts atmospheres instantly. He can turn a no into a yes between sunset and sunrise. What shocks you does not shock Him. What surprises you has already been prepared in secret. And notice this. It will shock you in a good way. That means the shock will not be pain. It will not be loss. It will not be fear. It will be relief. It will be restoration. It will be confirmation. For some of you, it will be an answer you stopped praying for because the waiting became too heavy. For others, it will be a door reopening that you thought was permanently sealed. For someone listening right now, it will be a message from a person you never expected to hear from again. For another, it will be financial news, approval, opportunity, or a breakthrough that shifts the course of this entire month. Why is this important? Because hope has been fragile lately. You have been strong on the outside but tired on the inside. You have smiled publicly but wrestled privately. And heaven sees that. Heaven has not ignored the tears you never posted about. Heaven has not overlooked the silent prayers whispered at night. This moment is important because it marks the end of a silent battle and the beginning of visible evidence. There is something powerful about the timing. Before 11:59 p.m. That is the edge of a day. That is the final minute before a shift into tomorrow. Spiritually, it represents a threshold. It represents the last second of an old chapter before a new one begins. And sometimes God waits until the last possible moment so that you know it was Him. So that you know it was not luck. So that you know it was not coincidence. So that you know it was divine precision. This message is not for everyone. It is for the one who feels the stirring right now. It is for the one who has been asking, God, are you still working? It is for the one who needed a sign, but did not want to admit it. Consider this your sign. Not because of the platform, not because of the production, but because of the timing. You are hearing this at the exact moment you were meant to hear it. There are rare revelations in Scripture and in life. God often moves without warning. He does not always announce the miracle before he performs it. Sometimes he lets the tension build. Sometimes he allows the silence to stretch. And then, suddenly, everything changes. Tonight carries that same suddenness. It carries a divine unpredictability that works in your favor. So pause. Breathe. Let this settle into your spirit. This is not hype. This is alignment. This is preparation. This is heaven whispering, pay attention. Because by the time this night ends, something will shift. A notification, a call, a realization, a confirmation. And when it comes, you will remember this moment. You will remember that you were told not to scroll past. You will remember that you were told to open before 11:59 p.m. This is your divine interruption, and it is not accidental. There are moments when heaven changes the narrative so quickly that it feels unreal. God says you will receive unexpected news tonight. That means the story you thought was fixed is not finished. The chapter you assumed was closing in disappointment is being rewritten in divine ink. What you believed was permanent was only temporary. What you thought was rejection was actually redirection. And what looked like silence was strategy. Throughout history, God has moved in sudden shifts. One day someone is forgotten, the next day they are called forward. One night carries tears, the next morning carries answers. This is how heaven operates. Not always gradually, not always predictably. Sometimes the shift is instant. Sometimes the breakthrough comes at the exact hour you stopped looking for it. And that is why this word matters so deeply. Because if tonight is marked, then your current reality is not the final version of your story. You may have adjusted to disappointment. You may have trained your heart not to expect too much so you would not be hurt again. You told yourself, it is what it is. You convinced yourself that maybe this is just how life will remain. But God does not operate within the limits you set out of self-protection. He moves beyond what you have settled for. And when he decides to shift something, it does not require years. It can happen in hours. A sudden shift is uncomfortable because it disrupts what you thought you understood. It shakes your logic. It surprises your routine. But when God shifts a narrative, it is always precise. The call you were waiting for may come from an unexpected number. The approval you assumed was denied may suddenly be reversed. The opportunity you thought was given to someone else may circle back with your name attached to it. Heaven knows how to orchestrate outcomes in ways you could never predict. This is why shock can actually be a sign of divine intervention. When something is truly from God, it often carries an element of surprise. It bypasses your overthinking. It silences your doubts. It forces you to acknowledge that this could not have been manufactured by human effort alone. The good news that is coming tonight will carry that kind of weight. It will feel different. It will feel undeniable. It will feel like relief rushing into a place that has been dry for too long. But here is the key. You must prepare your heart to receive it. Sudden blessings require steady faith. If you are filled with fear, you may misinterpret the notification. If you are filled with doubt, you may hesitate when you should respond. Position yourself in expectancy, not desperation, not anxiety, expectancy. Expectancy says, I do not know how, but I trust that something good is aligning. Expectancy creates room for God to move freely. And let me say this clearly, do not isolate yourself in this moment. If this message is resonating with you, if something inside you feels awakened, then engage with it. Like this video as an act of agreement. Comment your expectation as a declaration of faith. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to words that strengthen you in moments like this. Share this message with someone who needs hope tonight. When you interact, you are not just supporting a platform. You are aligning yourself publicly with what heaven is speaking privately to your spirit. There is power in agreement. There is power in unity. There is power in saying, I believe something good is about to happen. Delay is not denial. Silence is not abandonment. Waiting is not wasting. Many times, the delay was protection. Many times, the silence was preparation. If the news had come earlier, you might not have been ready for it. If the door had opened last month, it may not have led to the right outcome. Timing is everything in divine movement. And tonight, timing is aligning. You may not feel qualified. You may not feel prepared. But the sudden shift is not based on your perfection. It is based on God's promise. He does not wait for you to have flawless faith. He responds to even the smallest seed of belief. If you can hold on to even a fragment of hope right now, that is enough. If you can whisper, maybe this is for me, that is enough. The narrative is changing. Even now, behind the scenes, conversations are happening. Decisions are being made. Doors are unlocking. You cannot see it, but you will feel it soon. And when it arrives, you will realize that this was the turning point. This was the moment you were told not to scroll past. This was the second heaven interrupted your routine to prepare you for good news. Tonight is not ordinary. It is transitional. It is the bridge between what would and what will be. And the sudden shift is already in motion. When God says, you will receive unexpected news tonight, there are often signs that begin to surface before the announcement arrives. These signs are subtle, but they are powerful. They are spiritual indicators that something is shifting beneath the surface of your life. And if you have been paying attention, you may have already noticed them. One of the first signs is a strange restlessness. Not anxiety, not fear, but a deep internal stirring that you cannot fully explain. It feels like anticipation mixed with peace. It feels like standing at the edge of something new, even if you cannot see what it is yet. You may have woken up today feeling different. You may have sensed that something is about to change, even though nothing around you looks different. That internal shift is often the first whisper of incoming breakthrough. Another sign is repeated confirmation. You keep hearing similar messages. You keep seeing reminders about hope, about sudden blessings, about divine timing. It is as if the same theme keeps circling back to you from different directions. That is not coincidence. When God is preparing to release something significant, He often confirms it more than once. He knows how fragile hope can be. He knows you need reassurance. So He allows patterns to appear until your spirit begins to recognize them. You may also notice that doors that once felt permanently closed suddenly seem unstable. Situations that looked final no longer feel as solid. Conversations shift. Energy changes. Resistance weakens. It is subtle, but it is there. When heaven is about to deliver unexpected good news, the environment often begins adjusting in advance. What seemed immovable starts loosening. What felt stuck begins to breathe again. Another powerful sign is increased spiritual pressure. Right before breakthrough, there is often unusual opposition. You might have faced discouragement recently. Doubts may have intensified. Distractions may have multiplied. That is not random. When something good is approaching, resistance sometimes increases because the enemy senses movement before you do. But pressure is not proof of defeat. Pressure is often proof that something valuable is near. You may also feel emotionally sensitive. Tears may come more easily. Gratitude may surface unexpectedly. Reflection may feel deeper. This emotional preparation is not weakness, it is alignment. God often softens your heart before He places something significant into your hands. He prepares your inner world so you can properly receive what is coming into your outer world. And here is another sign. You almost gave up. You almost stopped believing. You almost accepted that nothing would change. But something inside you refused to fully surrender hope. That small remaining spark of faith is enough. God does not need a roaring fire of confidence. He can work with a single ember of belief. If you are still here, still listening, still holding on to even a fragment of expectation, that is a sign. There is also a shift in perspective happening. You are starting to see your past struggles differently. Instead of only seeing pain, you are beginning to recognize preparation. Instead of only remembering rejection, you are noticing redirection. That mental shift is important. It means your spirit is maturing into a place where blessing will not overwhelm you. You are ready in ways you did not realize before. Sometimes the biggest sign is peace. Not excitement, not noise. Just a quiet, steady peace that settles over you without explanation. Peace before proof is a powerful indicator that something has already been decided in your favor. Peace means the battle has already shifted, even if the results have not yet appeared physically. And now, listen carefully. What comes next will explain why tonight matters more than you think. There is a reason this word is tied to a specific time. There is a reason you were told not to scroll past. The timing itself is part of the sign. You will be glad you stayed present for what is about to unfold. Before we move forward, I want you to seal this moment. Type "I receive IT" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 114 is now activated. This is not superstition. This is agreement. When you declare that you receive, you are aligning your voice with what heaven has already spoken. Now let this truth settle deeply into your spirit. The signs are not random. They are preparation. They are whispers before the announcement. They are tremors before the shift. If you have felt the stirring, if you have noticed the confirmations, if you have sensed the pressure and the peace all at once, then you are not imagining it. You are standing on the edge of unexpected good news. And tonight, that edge becomes reality. As this stirring grows stronger, I feel led to speak to those who sense that this message is more than inspiration. It is assignment. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping carry this prophetic word to souls who are drowning in silence. Scripture declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not ancient history. This is God speaking life into your obedience right now. I believe this word is for me, and I will help send it forward. Your seed becomes light in someone else's midnight. Your generosity becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning across nations. Do not miss the holy urgency of this moment. The PayPal link is in the description, and the QR code may be flashing on your screen. Step into alignment and release your seed. As you give, may unexpected good news locate your house with undeniable speed. Act now, and let your obedience echo into eternity. There is a reason this word is anchored in tonight. Not next week, not someday, not in a distant season. Tonight, when God says, "You will receive unexpected news tonight," it carries a spiritual pattern that has echoed throughout history. Nighttime is not just a period of darkness. It is a sacred backdrop for divine movement. It is often in the quietest hours that heaven performs its most powerful work. The night represents transition. It is the space between what was and what will be. During the day, everything feels visible, controlled, structured. But at night, control loosens. Noise fades. Distractions dim. The world slows down. And in that stillness, spiritual shifts occur. When you cannot see clearly with your natural eyes, you are invited to trust more deeply with your spiritual vision. Light forces faith to grow. Many people fear the night because it feels uncertain. Thoughts become louder. Worries try to resurface. Questions attempt to replay themselves. But what if the very environment you associate with uncertainty is the same environment God uses for revelation? Darkness does not intimidate him. Silence does not limit him. In fact, he often chooses those settings intentionally. Where human activity decreases, divine activity increases. Think about it. While you sleep, you are not striving. You are not manipulating outcomes. You are not forcing conversations. You are resting. And while you rest, heaven moves. There is something humbling about that truth. It reminds you that breakthrough does not depend entirely on your effort. Some victories are won while you are unaware. Some answers are prepared while you are silent. Some doors unlock while you are simply breathing. Night also represents intimacy. During the day, you may be surrounded by people, responsibilities, obligations. But at night, you are often alone with your thoughts, alone with your prayers, alone with your questions. And it is in that intimate space that God often whispers the clearest. When distractions fall away, His voice becomes easier to recognize. When the world is not demanding your attention, heaven can capture it. There is also symbolism in midnight. Midnight marks the end of one day and the beginning of another. It is a dividing line. It is a boundary between old and new. When something happens before 11:59 p.m., it means it arrives just before the full transition. It is like God is saying, "I will not let you cross into tomorrow carrying this same weight." It is powerful. That means the burden you carried all day may not follow you into the next. You may not feel strong right now. You may feel tired from waiting. You may feel like hope has required more energy than you had to give. But night is not about your strength. It is about His sovereignty. It is about recognizing that even when you are weary, He is working. Even when you are unsure, He is certain. Even when you are confused, He is precise. Sometimes God chooses the night because He wants the testimony to be undeniable. If something shifts in broad daylight, you might attribute it to coincidence. But when something changes overnight, when you go to bed one way and wake up to different news, it feels unmistakable. It feels intentional. It feels orchestrated. Overnight shifts leave no room for doubt. And consider this. Seeds grow underground in darkness before they ever break through the surface. The most important transformation happens where no one can see it. The soil does not look impressive. The ground appears unchanged. But beneath the surface, life is forming. Roots are strengthening. Structure is developing. The night in your life may have felt like burial, but it was actually planting. It may have felt like isolation, but it was preparation. When God says unexpected news is coming tonight, it means the growth stage is complete. It means what hath been forming in hidden places is ready to emerge. It means the silence served its purpose. The waiting refined you. The questions deepened you. The uncertainty stretched you. And now, in the stillness of night, something breaks through. Do not despise this hour. Do not rush through it distracted. There is sacred potential in these moments. Instead of filling the night with noise, allow yourself to sit in expectancy. Instead of replaying worst-case scenarios, open your heart to best-case possibilities. Instead of assuming nothing will change, whisper quietly, maybe everything is about to. Because night is not the end. It is the setup. It is the canvas on which God paints sudden miracles. It is the silence before the announcement. It is the calm before good news lands in your hands. The night is not ordinary darkness. It is strategic darkness. It is purposeful stillness. And before the clock crosses into tomorrow, something will shift. The night you feared may become the night you remember forever. The night heaven moved while the world slept. When God says the news will shock you in a good way, that shock is not meant to scare you. It is meant to heal you. There is a kind of surprise that wounds, and then there is a kind of surprise that restores. The kind heaven is releasing tonight is the restoring kind. It will catch you off guard not because it is negative, but because it is better than what you prepared yourself for. You see, over time, disappointment trains you to lower your expectations. After enough delays, you start bracing for bad news. After enough unanswered prayers, you begin to expect silence. You tell yourself you are just being realistic. You say you are protecting your heart. But what you were really doing was adapting to survival mode. You stopped anticipating joy because hope felt risky. You stopped imagining breakthroughs because imagining and not receiving hurt too much. That is why this will shock you. Not because it is impossible, but because you stopped picturing it happening for you. God often waits until your striving quiets down. He waits until you release the tight grip of control. He waits until you are no longer obsessively checking every update. And then, suddenly, when your guard is lowered and your expectations are neutral, he moves. The shock comes from the contrast. You were preparing yourself for another ordinary outcome, and heaven delivers something extraordinary. The shock heals because it confronts the lie that nothing good can happen quickly. It challenges the belief that your situation is permanently stuck. It breaks the pattern of pessimism that slowly formed in your thoughts. When unexpected good news arrives, it does more than change circumstances. It renews perspective. It reminds you that God is not limited by the timeline you assumed was fixed. There is also something deeply personal about divine surprises. They are often tailored to your specific prayers, not generic blessings, not random outcomes, but precise answers. Something you whispered months ago may resurface tonight in a way that proves you were heard. A detail you thought was too small to matter may show up exactly as you asked. And when that happens, the shock becomes intimate. It feels like heaven calling your name directly. Sometimes the shock comes because the source is unexpected. The person you least anticipated may become the vessel of good news. The door you thought was permanently closed may open wider than before. The opportunity you believed had passed may return and prove. God delights in using unlikely channels so that when the blessing arrives, you know it was orchestrated beyond human planning. And here is another reason it will surprise you. It may exceed what you originally requested. You prayed for relief, and He sends restoration. You asked for provision, and He sends overflow. You hope for a small opening, and He presents a wide doorway. When God answers, He does not always match your request. He often surpasses it. The shock is not just that it came, but that it came bigger than expected. There is a moment that happens when good news finally reaches tired ears. For a second, you do not react. You reread the message. You replay the voicemail. You double-check the details. You hesitate, not because you doubt, but because your mind needs time to catch up with what your heart is feeling. That pause, that breathless stillness, is the shock. It is the instant when reality shifts. And in that shift, healing begins. Healing from the nights you questioned your worth. Healing from the times you wondered if you were overlooked. Healing from the quiet disappointment you carried without telling anyone. Unexpected good news as a way of stitching together places inside you that you thought would always remain fragile. It restores confidence. It revives gratitude. It reawakens trust. You may have thought that if something good ever happened again, you would react loudly. You imagined shouting, celebrating, calling everyone you know. But when it truly arrives, it may feel quieter at first. It may feel sacred. You may sit still and let it sink in. Because deep down, you will know this was not random. It was timed. It was intentional. It was personal. And let this be clear. The shock is not about proving others wrong. It is not about public validation. It is about private confirmation. It is about knowing that the God who saw your silent struggle also orchestrated your visible turnaround. It is about realizing that the season of waiting was not wasted. It was positioning. The reason this blessing is arriving unexpectedly is because it had been developing beyond your sight. Just because you did not see movement did not mean there was none. Just because you did not receive updates does not mean progress was not happening. Behind every sudden breakthrough is a hidden process. Behind every shocking answer is a quiet preparation. Tonight, the preparation meets manifestation. You will not need to force it. You will not need to chase it. When it arrives, it will feel aligned. It will carry peace with it. It will make sense in ways you could not have calculated. And when the shock settles into gratitude, you will understand something powerful. God did not forget you. He was simply preparing something better than what you imagine. This is the shock that heals, the surprise that restores, the news that writes the narrative inside your heart. And when it comes, you will remember that you were told in advance. There is something powerful about a blessing that arrives without warning. When God says you will receive unexpected news tonight, it is not only unexpected to you, it is unexpected to the forces that tried to delay you. The enemy may have studied your weaknesses. He may have observed your patterns. He may have tried to predict your breaking point. But what he cannot predict is the precise timing of God. You have felt resistance lately. Delays that did not make sense. Miscommunications that created frustration. Doors that closed at the last second. It felt like every time you moved forward, something pushed back. And you wondered if you were doing something wrong. You questioned your decisions. You examined your faith. But what if the resistance was not proof of failure? What if it was evidence that something valuable was close? Opposition often intensifies right before breakthrough. When a shift is near, distractions multiply. Doubts grow louder. Small inconveniences become exaggerated. The enemy's strategy is simple. If he cannot stop what God is about to release, he will try to exhaust you before it arrives. He will try to make you give up minutes before the miracle. He will try to convince you that nothing is changing, even while heaven is finalizing the details. But here is what the enemy does not understand. God does not announce his moves to opposition. He does not consult resistance before blessing you. He does not reveal his timeline to those who intend to disrupt it. Divine strategy operates in silence. While negativity assumes it has won, heaven is preparing a reversal. You may have felt confused recently. Plans that once seemed clear became cloudy. Directives that were certain became uncertain. That confusion was not random. Sometimes God allows temporary confusion to conceal permanent victory. If everything had remained predictable, the opposition might have recognized the shift before it was ready. So God shields it. He hides it in plain sight. He lets it look ordinary until the exact moment of release. Protection often looks like delay. You prayed for immediate answers, but they did not come. You hoped for quick progress, but it slowed down, and you thought something was wrong. But what if the delay was guarding you? What if the timing had to be precise so that when the blessing arrived, it could not be intercepted? God's timing is not just about blessing. It is about safeguarding what He gives you. The enemy anticipated your discouragement. He expected you to grow tired. He assumed you would detach emotionally and stop believing. But he did not anticipate that even in your exhaustion, you would still hold on to a fragment of hope. He did not anticipate that even after disappointment, you would still listen for God's voice. He did not anticipate that you would still be here, aligned with this message, moments before your narrative changes. Unexpected good news carries strategic timing. It disrupts negative expectations. It overrides calculated attacks. It exposes the limits of opposition. When something shifts suddenly, it proves that resistance never had ultimate control. It proves that no amount of pressure can override divine authority. There is also something humbling about knowing the enemy did not see this coming. It means the battle was not fought on your strength alone. You did not outsmart opposition by your own brilliance. You were carried. You were shielded. You were positioned by a wisdom greater than yours. While you were questioning yourself, heaven was defending you. Think about how many times you almost quit. How many times you nearly walked away from hope. How many times you considered accepting less than what you deserve. And yet, something kept you in place. Something told you to wait a little longer. Something whispered that this was not the end. That whisper was protection. That restraint was strategy. The enemy thrives on predictability. He builds attacks based on patterns. But when God decides to move suddenly, those patterns collapse. The script the enemy wrote for your downfall is interrupted. The outcome he expected is overturned. And the very area he targeted becomes the area of your testimony. This is why tonight's news will feel so significant. It will not just be good. It will be victorious. It will not just bring relief. It will bring restoration in a place that experienced resistance. The area that felt attacked may be the exact area where breakthrough appears. The conversation that carried tension may carry resolution. The opportunity that felt threatened may arrive secured. And when it does, you will realize something powerful. The enemy may have anticipated your weakness, but he underestimated your God. He may have watched your struggle, but he did not see the strategy forming behind it. He may have tried to exhaust you, but he could not outmaneuver divine timing. Tonight is proof that opposition never has the final word. Delay never has the final word. Doubt never has the final word. God does. As the hours move closer to midnight, remember this truth. The pressure you felt was not punishment. It was proximity. The confusion you experienced was not chaos. It was concealment. The delay you endured was not denial. It was defense. The enemy did not see this coming, but heaven did. And before this night ends, you will see it too. If God says, You will receive unexpected news tonight, and adds the instruction, open before 11:59 p.m. Then there is responsibility attached to the promise. Blessings are gifts, but alignment is a choice. The news may already be in motion, but how you position your heart before it arrives matters more than you realize. This is not about earning what God is doing. It is about preparing to receive it without fear, doubt, or hesitation. First, you must pause, not casually, intentionally. Slow down your thoughts. Step away from distractions for a few minutes. The world constantly competes for your attention, especially in the evening hours. Notifications, conversations, entertainment, they all pull at your focus. But if tonight carries divine movement, you cannot afford to be spiritually scattered. A quiet moment of stillness can shift your entire atmosphere. When you pause, you create space for clarity. When you become still, you become aware. Second, speak faith instead of fear. Your words matter in transitional moments. What you declare shapes your expectation. If you spend the next few hours rehearsing worst-case scenarios, you will condition your mind for disappointment. But if you speak words of trust, simple, steady declarations of belief, you align yourself with possibility. You do not need dramatic speeches. Even a quiet whisper saying, "God, I trust you," carries power. The tone of your heart before 11:59 p.m. sets the emotional foundation for what follows. You must also release mental doubt. Doubt may try to convince you that this message is too good to be true. It may remind you of previous times when you hoped and nothing happened. It may attempt to replay old disappointments like evidence in a courtroom. But tonight is not yesterday. This moment is not defined by past outcomes. You cannot carry old skepticism into a new season and expect to fully embrace what arrives. Releasing doubt does not mean pretending you were never hurt. It means choosing not to let previous pain dictate present expectation. Another important step is forgiveness. This may seem unrelated, but it is deeply connected. If there is resentment in your heart, it can cloud your ability to receive good news freely. Forgiveness is not about excusing what hurt you. It is about freeing your spirit from emotional weight. If unexpected news is about to shift your story, you do not want to enter that shift carrying bitterness. Let go of what drained you. Release what offended you. Clear space inside your heart so joy can enter without obstruction. Gratitude is also essential before 11:59 p.m. Not gratitude for what has not yet happened, but gratitude for what has sustained you until now. Reflect on the ways you were protected even when you did not realize it. Think about the strength you were given during difficult weeks. Consider the lessons you gained from delays. Gratitude stabilizes your emotions. It grounds you. It prevents excitement from turning into anxiety. When you are grateful, you are balanced. And balance allows you to receive news calmly and wisely. You must also prepare practically. Keep your phone charged. Check your messages. Ensure you are accessible. This is not about obsession. It is about readiness. If God uses a practical channel to deliver unexpected news, a call, a message, an email, you do not want to miss it because of neglect. Spiritual expectancy and practical readiness can exist together. Faith does not ignore reality. It engages with it responsibly. Emotionally, you must prepare for joy. That may sound simple, but for someone who has experienced prolonged waiting, joy can feel unfamiliar. You may instinctively brace for disappointment even when good news arrives. Before 11:59 p.m., make a decision. If something positive comes, you will not sabotage it with suspicion. You will not immediately question whether it will disappear. You will allow yourself to celebrate, even quietly. You will permit yourself to feel relief without guilt. Prayer is the final preparation. Not a long, complicated prayer. Just an honest one. Speak openly. Say what you feel. Express your hope. Express your fear if you must. Invite God into your anticipation. Prayer centers you. It reminds you that whatever happens tonight is under divine authority. Whether the news comes exactly as you imagine or in a form you did not predict, you remain held. The instruction to open before 11:59 p.m. is symbolic of alertness. It is about being spiritually awake as the day transitions. It is about recognizing that moments of change often arrive quietly. You do not need dramatic signs in the sky. You need attentiveness. You need a heart that is listening. These final hours before midnight are not empty. They are sacred. They are a bridge between what has been and what is forming. Do not rush through them distracted or discouraged. Treat them with reverence. Treat them with hope. Because when the clock approaches its final minute, you will not be scrambling. You will not be panicking. You will be ready. Ready in spirit. Ready in mind. Ready in heart. And readiness changes everything. There is a door in your life that you cannot see yet. It hath been forming quietly, positioned strategically, aligned precisely with this moment. When God says, "You will receive unexpected news tonight," it is often connected to a hidden door, an opportunity, a reconciliation, a breakthrough that was never truly locked, only delayed. And what makes this door powerful is not just that it opens, but that it opens at the exact right time. Some doors close to redirect you, others close to protect you. But there are also doors that appear closed when they are simply waiting for divine timing. You may have knocked before. You may have applied, asked, prayed, and hoped. And when nothing moved, you assumed the answer was no. But heaven's silence is not always refusal. Sometimes it is preparation behind the scenes. This hidden door is not random. It is connected to your growth. If it had opened months ago, you might not have been ready to walk through it confidently. You might have doubted yourself. You might have mishandled the responsibility. You might have underestimated your own capacity. But you have changed. You have matured in ways you did not notice. The waiting strengthened your discernment. The delays refined your patience. The setbacks sharpened your resilience. Now, the timing aligns with who you have become. Hidden doors often open in unexpected areas. It may not look like the exact opportunity you originally imagined. It may come through a different path, a different person, a different setting. But when it arrives, there will be peace attached to it. Not chaos, not confusion. Peace is the confirmation that the door is divinely assigned. You may have felt lately that something was shifting, even if you could not define it. Conversations may have subtly changed tone. Opportunities may have started hinting at possibility. Internal fear may have begun loosening its grip. These are signs that the hinges are moving. The door is not crashing open loudly. It is turning quietly, steadily, with intention. There is also a reason it is hidden until the moment of opening. If you had seen it too early, doubt might have interfered. Fear might have caused you to hesitate. External voices might have discouraged you. So God conceals certain blessings until the precise second they are ready to manifest. Protection sometimes looks like mystery. And understand this: when this door opens, it will not just change your circumstances, it will shift your confidence. You will realize you were never stuck. You were being positioned. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. The hidden door is evidence that even when nothing appeared to move, something was aligning beneath the surface. Gratitude plays a powerful role here. Before the door opens fully, choose gratitude. Gratitude signals readiness. It communicates trust. It tells heaven that you recognize the journey that brought you to this threshold. When you appreciate the process, you honor the promise. There is something sacred about thresholds. They represent transition. They are the thin line between familiar and new. Standing at a threshold can feel vulnerable because you are aware that once you step through, things will not be the same. But growth always requires crossing into unfamiliar territory. The hidden door is not meant to intimidate you. It is meant to elevate you. Tonight, as the hours move closer to midnight, imagine that door slowly unlocking. Not forced, not rushed, just naturally turning because the time has arrived. The key was never in your hands alone. It was in divine timing, and divine timing never fails. You may not know the exact form the news will take. It could be a message of reconciliation, a financial breakthrough, an approval you thought was denied, an invitation you did not see coming. Whatever it is, it will carry the unmistakable feeling of alignment. It will feel like something clicking into place. Hold this truth carefully. The door opening tonight is connected to the next season of your life. It is not random luck. It is strategic favor. It is not coincidence. It is confirmation. And as you stand in expectation, remember this. What you are about to step into is something you once prayed for in private. The hidden door is not new to God. It was always part of your path. You are simply arriving at it now. You'll understand why this door opens only once in this season. What follows will reveal why the timing had to be exact, why the waiting could not be shortened, and why tonight carries such weight. Remain attentive. Remain open. The threshold is closer than you think. Before we continue, seal this moment with agreement. Type "My time is now" in the comments. Blessing code 329 is now activated. Let this declaration mark your readiness to walk through what is opening. As this door begins to move, I feel led to speak to those who sense that this message is part of a greater mission. When you sow through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are placing oil in the lamp that carries this prophetic light to someone else standing in darkness. The word declares that when you sow generously, you reap abundantly. And this is not distant scripture. It is a living promise spoken over you now. I believe this word is for me, and I will help carry it to others. Your seed becomes a key that unlocks hope in homes you may never see. This is a prophetic moment to act, not hesitate. The PayPal link is in the description, and the QR code on your screen is your gateway to obedience. As you give, may doors open in your life with undeniable favor and speed. Step forward now and let your generosity become part of someone else's breakthrough. There is a level of faith that waits for proof, and then there is a level of faith that celebrates before it sees anything. Tonight, you are being invited into the second kind. God says, you will receive unexpected news tonight, and before that news even reaches your hands, heaven is asking you to respond as if it is already on its way. This is not denial. This is alignment. This is testimony in advance. When you celebrate before the arrival, you are not pretending. You are positioning. You are telling your spirit that you trust the promise more than you fear the possibility of delay. That kind of response shifts your atmosphere. It replaces tension with expectancy. It transforms waiting from anxiety into anticipation. Think about how different your posture becomes when you are expecting good news instead of bracing for disappointment. Your breathing changes. Your thoughts soften. Your heart opens. You begin to imagine positive outcomes instead of worst-case scenarios. That internal shift is powerful. It prepares you to receive without hesitation. Testimony in advance means speaking gratitude for what has not yet manifested. It means whispering, "Thank you," before the phone rings. It means smiling quietly before the message appears. It means believing that somewhere, right now, something is being finalized in your favor. You do not need visible evidence to activate faith. You need trust. This kind of faith confuses doubt. Doubt feeds on visible lack. It waits for proof before believing. But when you celebrate early, you weaken doubt's grip. You refuse to let previous disappointments dictate present expectation. You choose to believe that tonight is different. And here is the deeper truth. Celebration attracts clarity. When your heart is light, you hear more clearly. When your spirit is grateful, you discern more accurately. Fear creates noise. Faith creates focus. If unexpected news is approaching, you want your heart steady and receptive. Imagine the moment the news finally reaches you. Imagine how it will feel. Will you freeze? Will you reread it to make sure it is real? Will you sit in silence for a second before responding? Now imagine that instead of shock mixed with fear, you experience shock wrapped in peace. But peace comes from preparation. It comes from celebrating before the announcement. There is also power in sharing expectation. Do not keep your faith silent tonight. If this message resonates with you, engage with it boldly. Like this video as a declaration that you believe something good is aligning. Comment your expectation below, not as a wish but as a statement of trust. Subscribe to remain connected to words that strengthen your spirit in moments like this. And share this message with someone who needs hope before midnight. Your engagement is not just interaction. It is agreement. When you align publicly with faith, you reinforce it privately within yourself. Testimony in advance is also about memory. You are creating a marker. When the unexpected news arrives, you will remember that you chose to celebrate before you saw it. You will recall that you trusted the word before evidence appeared. That memory strengthens your future faith. It becomes a personal reminder that when God speaks, He fulfills. There is a reason heaven invites you to rejoice early. Joy expands capacity. If you wait until the blessing arrives to feel joy, you may limit how deeply you can receive it. But when you allow joy to enter before manifestation, your heart stretches. You become capable of holding more than you imagined. And do not worry if celebration feels quiet. It does not need to be loud. It can be a simple smile, a calm breath, a peaceful nod. Celebration is not performance. It is posture. It is an internal agreement that says, "I trust what is coming." Tonight is above alignment. You have prepared your heart. You have released doubt. You have positioned yourself before 11:59 p.m. Now shift from preparation to praise. Not forced praise. Not dramatic display. Just genuine gratitude. Somewhere, decisions are being finalized. Somewhere, approvals are being processed. Somewhere, conversations are being shaped. You cannot see it, but you can sense it. And instead of waiting nervously, you are choosing confidence. Celebrate before it arrives. Because when the unexpected news reaches you, it will not feel random. It will feel earned through patience. It will feel timed through divine precision. It will feel like a promise kept. And when that moment comes, you will not say, "I can't believe it." You will say, I knew something was shifting. There is a reason the instruction said, don't scroll past this moment. Because you almost did. You almost treated this like every other notification. You almost assumed it was just another video, another voice, another message competing for your attention. And if you had scrolled past, you would have missed the alignment taking place right now. Distraction is subtle. It rarely announces itself as danger. It presents itself as harmless delay. I'll watch later. I'll come back to it. It's probably not that important. That is how moments slip away. Not through rebellion, but through postponement. The enemy does not always need to destroy your breakthrough. Sometimes he only needs to distract you from recognizing it. You live in a world where your attention is constantly under attack. Notifications blink. Messages stack. Content scrolls endlessly. Every swipe trains your mind to move quickly, to consume without absorbing, to glance without engaging. But divine moments require stillness. They require pause. They require you to resist the instinct to keep moving. When God says unexpected news is coming tonight, and then adds urgency to open before 11:59 p.m., it is because timing matters. Alignment matters. Attention matters. If you are mentally scattered, you may overlook what is right in front of you. If your spirit is disengaged, you may misinterpret what is meant to bless you. Think about how many times in your life you sensed something important but hesitated. How many times you felt a nudge but ignored it. How many times you delayed responding and later realized the opportunity had shifted. Missing a moment does not always look dramatic. It often looks ordinary. Tonight is not ordinary. There is also another layer to this. You almost missed this message because you have been tired. When you are emotionally exhausted, hope feels heavy. Promises feel distant. Urgency feels overwhelming. You may have told yourself that you are done expecting anything sudden. You may have convinced yourself that if something good happens, it will take a long time. So when a word arrives saying tonight, your first instinct is skepticism. But skepticism can become a shield that blocks blessing. It can disguise itself as wisdom. It can sound like maturity. Yet underneath, it may simply be fear of disappointment. If you expect nothing, you cannot be hurt. But if you expect nothing, you also cannot fully receive something. You almost missed this because you were protecting yourself. And then something stopped you. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was a subtle stirring in your spirit. Maybe it was the urgency in the title. Whatever it was, you paused. That pause matters. That hesitation to scroll is not small. It is significant. Because sometimes the difference between breakthrough and delay is a few seconds of attention. Distraction is not just about external noise. It is also internal. Your own thoughts can distract you. Overthinking can distract you. Replaying old failures can distract you. Imagining negative outcomes can distract you. When your mind is busy rehearsing yesterday's disappointments, it struggles to recognize today's opportunity. But right now, you are present. Right now, you are aware. Right now, you are engaged. And that changes everything. There is also something spiritual about interruption. Divine messages rarely arrive when it is convenient. They interrupt routines. They disrupt scrolling. They break into normal patterns. If you are always waiting for a perfect moment to pay attention, you may never notice when heaven speaks. You always missed this because it did not look dramatic. It looked like content. It looked ordinary. But inside something ordinary was a word meant specifically for you. Consider this. What if the unexpected news tonight is connected to your willingness to stay attentive now? What if your responsiveness in this moment strengthens your sensitivity for what is coming next? Attention is a form of honor. When you honor the moment, you prepare yourself for the message. Do not underestimate the power of staying present. Do not treat this as casual background noise. Let it sink in. Let it settle. Let it prepare you. The world trains you to scroll quickly. Heaven trains you to pause deeply. You chose to pause. You chose to listen. And because you did, you are positioned differently than you were a few minutes ago. Tonight, when the unexpected news arrives, you will remember that you almost missed this message. You will remember that you nearly scrolled past. And you will feel gratitude that you did. Because what is coming is not random. It is connected to awareness. It is connected to timing. It is connected to alignment. The moment you almost ignored is becoming the moment that changes everything. There is a sacred stillness that happens right before something changes. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet, almost unnoticed. And yet, it carries the weight of transition. This is the space you are entering now, the moment of receiving. God says you will receive unexpected news tonight. That means somewhere between now and midnight, something will cross into your awareness that shifts your atmosphere. It may arrive through a screen lighting up. It may come through a voice on the other end of a call. It may appear as a message, an approval, an update, or even a sudden realization that answers a question you have carried for months. However it comes, the moment of receiving will feel distinct. Before it happens, your heart may beat a little differently. Time may feel slower. You may find yourself glancing at the clock more than usual. This is not anxiety, it is anticipation. Your spirit senses that something is aligning. There is a subtle readiness building inside you. When the news finally arrives, there may be a pause, a brief second where your mind needs to process what your eyes are seeing or what your ears are hearing. You might read the message. You might ask the person to repeat themselves. Not because you doubt it, but because it feels bigger than you expected. That pause is sacred. It is the exact second where waiting transforms into manifestation. Do not rush through that moment. Let yourself feel it fully. If relief rises, allow it. If tears form, let them fall. If gratitude swells, express it. The moment of receiving is not just about information. It is about transformation. It is the instant where uncertainty dissolves and clarity takes its place. You may also feel a wave of peace. Not excitement first, but peace. A calm assurance that this is right. That this is aligned. That this is what was meant to happen. Peace is often the confirmation that the news carries divine timing. It is the quiet signature of heaven on what has just unfolded. Release fear in that moment. Do not let overthinking rush in to analyze every detail. Do not let doubt question whether it will last. Tonight is about receiving, not dissecting. You can evaluate tomorrow. You can plan next steps later. For now, simply receive. There is something powerful about being emotionally open when good news arrives. If you have spent months bracing for disappointment, your instinct might be to protect yourself even now. You might hesitate to celebrate too quickly. You might worry that joy could be premature. But this moment is not fragile. It is ordained. Allow yourself to trust it. The moment of receiving is also a reminder of faithfulness. You will look back at the prayers you whispered when no one else was listening. You will remember the nights you questioned whether anything was shifting. You will recall the times you almost gave up. And in that reflection, you will realize that none of it was wasted. Every tear, every doubt, every moment of endurance led to this. And here is another truth. The news may not just change your circumstances, it may change your identity. You may step into a new level of responsibility, a new opportunity, a new connection. Receiving is not passive. It invites growth. It invites courage. It invites you to move forward differently than before. As the clock approaches its final minutes before midnight, remain attentive. Stay grounded. Keep your heart steady. If the news comes at 10 p.m. or 11:57 p.m., the timing does not matter as much as the alignment. It will arrive when it is meant to. And if, in a quiet twist, the news comes in the form of clarity rather than communication, if instead of a message from someone else, you receive a revelation within yourself, honor that too. Sometimes unexpected news is not external, it is internal. It is a sudden understanding, a decision made with confidence, a release of something that held you back. That kind of receiving is just as powerful. Tonight is about openness. It is about having your phone near, but your faith nearer. It is about being aware but not anxious. It is about trusting that when the moment arrives, you will recognize it. You are not waiting in uncertainty anymore. You are standing in expectancy. The preparation is complete. The alignment is in place. The door is open. And when the unexpected news reaches you, you will know without hesitation that this was the moment you were told about. The moment of receiving is closer than you think. God says you will receive unexpected news tonight. As we come to this final moment together, let this settle deeply into your spirit. It is already moving. What you have been hoping for is not frozen. What you have been praying about is not forgotten. What you have been waiting on is not delayed beyond purpose. Even now, beyond your sight, something is shifting into place. Throughout this message, you were reminded not to scroll past. You were urged to open before 11:59 p.m. You were shown the signs, the preparation, the hidden door, the strategy behind the delay, and the power of celebrating before arrival. None of that was random. It was alignment. It was positioning. It was heaven drawing your attention to a moment that carries divine precision. You did not arrive here by accident. Out of all the noise, all the content, all the distractions, you remained. You listened. You leaned in. And that matters more than you know. Attention is agreement. Presence is participation. By staying, you aligned yourself with expectancy rather than indifference. Now hear this clearly. Even if the unexpected news arrives in a form slightly different than what you imagined, it will still be good. It will still be purposeful. It will still carry divine fingerprints. Sometimes we expect one type of breakthrough, and God sends another that is greater in the long run. Trust the form it takes. Trust the timing it carries. Trust the peace that follows it. If for any reason the clock crosses midnight and you are still waiting, do not let doubt rush in. Midnight is symbolic of transition, not limitation. The word tonight carries the spirit of immediacy, but divine timing operates beyond human clocks. What is set in motion cannot be undone. What has been authorized in heaven will manifest in the right sequence. Hold on to that assurance. You are not overlooked. You are not last in line. You are not forgotten in the crowd. The same God who orchestrates galaxies orchestrates details in your life. The same authority that commands seasons commands outcomes on your behalf. When He speaks, movement follows. Let peace settle over you now. Release the tension in your shoulders. Slow your breathing. Allow gratitude to fill the spaces where anxiety once tried to live. Whether the news arrives in the next hour or the next few moments, your posture remains the same. Trust. You have grown through this waiting season. You have matured through delay. You have become stronger through uncertainty. And because of that growth, you are ready. Ready to receive. Ready to step forward. Ready to carry what is coming with wisdom and humility. Tonight marks a shift. Maybe subtle. Maybe dramatic. But real. Before we close, seal this word over your life. Type "I am ready" in the comments. Blessing code 902 is now activated. Let that declaration be your final agreement with what heaven has spoken. Let it be your personal confirmation that you are open, aligned, and expectant. Lift your heart now and receive this assurance. What is meant for you will not pass you. What is assigned to your name will find you. What is scheduled in divine timing will not be erased by human delay. It is already moving. Carry this peace with you into the rest of the night. Stay attentive but not anxious. Stay hopeful but not pressured. Stay ready but not restless. The same God who spoke the promise is faithful to fulfill it. And when the unexpected news comes, when your phone lights up, when the message appears, when the clarity settles in, you will remember this moment. You will remember that you were told in advance. You will remember that you chose to believe before seeing. This is not the end of your story. This is the turning point within it. It is already moving. As this word seals over your life, I must speak to those who feel the fire of this message burning within them. When you sow through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not giving to a platform. You are sending this prophetic light into dark places where someone is praying for confirmation just like you were tonight. The Lord declares that when you bring your seed, He opens the windows of heaven, and that promise is alive over you now. I believe this word is for me, and I will help carry it to the nations. Your gift becomes a river that flows into homes, hospitals, lonely rooms, and weary hearts. This is a holy moment to act with obedience, not hesitation. The PayPal link is in the description, and the QR code on your screen is your doorway to participate in this harvest. As you sow, may unexpected news pursue you with favor and acceleration. Step forward now and let your generosity become part of someone else's miracle.